Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Mi Gente on Air. And thank you for being with me tonight in the room on social media platforms. And I hope that you will get involved, ask questions, or make comments for our guests because we got a really nice guest tonight who is a friend of Saginaw, Stefani Montiel. She is with us tonight. I'm so happy. She's part of the Tejano Superstar Series that we've been doing with all these artists that are coming to the Great Lakes Bay region for Cinco de Mayo. They're going to be celebrating with us on May 6th. And we've got Bobby Polido, Eric Gonzalez, Stefani Montiel, and Gary Hobbs all coming to our region, the state of Michigan. It's like we're the Tejano capital of the world now. But anyways, so I want you to come into the room, enjoy yourselves, enjoy the conversation that me and my friend Stefani Montiel is going to have tonight here on Mi Gente on Air.
Welcome to Mi Gente on Air on 100.5 and 790 News Radio WSGW and online WSGW.com. Now, here is your host, Larry Rodarte.
Good evening, everybody. I am jamming here in the studios at Alpha Media, and it's great to be with you on another edition of Mi Gente on Air. I am your host, Larry Rodarte, and excitement is in the air. Everyone is looking forward to Cinco de Mayo. We're getting ready here in Saginaw, and the 44th annual Cinco de Mayo celebration is happening on May 6th, and the Great Lakes Bay region is celebrating with four big Tejano acts coming to our area. And we are continuing on this evening with the Tejano Superstar Series. To celebrate with us, we have Eddie Gonzalez, Bobby Polido, Stefani Montiel, and Gary Hobbs. They're all coming to the area. These are big names coming from Texas, which equates to a lot of dancing. That's what we do. We dance, we love our Mexican foods, and we celebrate. And at Jolt Credit Union Event Park, they will host all the festivities after the annual parade with food trucks like Big Pete's and Wella's Kitchen and Wonder Burger, some of the very best grinding out to bring us that great food, along with merchandise vendors, informational vendors, of course, bouncy houses, international wrestlers, and the ballet folklorical groups from Detroit. Grupo Deseo will perform as well. All that excitement, and tonight we continue with that Mi Gente on Air Tejano Superstar Series with Stefani Montiel. She's had a stellar career and she's celebrating with the Lone Star Nights Tour heading to Saginaw for Cinco de Mayo. Please help me welcome my friend, welcome the incomparable Stefani Montiel.
Well,
And
hello,
there she
hello.
is. Hi, how are you?
I'm doing wonderful. Thank you so much for inviting me on tonight. It's so nice to see you again. And I am truly looking forward to being back out in Saginaw, in Michigan, period. I loved the last time we were out there. We've always had a great time. Everyone's always so wonderful to us and just really welcomes us with open arms. So I'm really, really excited about this trip.
Well, we're excited to have you. And I know that when you came to the historic Union Civica Mexicana, you met the All Stars, what we call the Civica All Stars. And I got to tell you, right from the beginning of that concert that you gave, like something magical happened. It was just,
Yeah.
we have our dances there and all, and we had our little space. Remember, you went into the office, we took pictures of, but something magical happened, and it was just like a love fest, and the Civica All Stars got to meet you, take pictures. You were putting their names in your phone, and you became friends.
We
So I really hope it's like that again for us when we have you in the Saginaw region again, because that was awesome. It was a really good time, Stephanie.
It was. We had one of the best nights ever. I mean, and I mean that wholeheartedly. We had such a great time. Everyone was just so welcoming, so wonderful. The food was amazing. That's one of the main reasons I can't wait to go back to Saginaw. You guys make the best food. And just, just the hospitality. Everyone was so excited to have us out there. Just nothing but love, support. And we just really appreciate that from the bottom of our hearts. And so,
Um,
thank you. Thank you all for that, because we don't always get that same love here in Texas. They get to see us all the time. So when we go out of state, it's really nice to just have a different perspective of, how people enjoy the music and support it and respect it. And that's what we're just, we're in awe of that, and we appreciate it so much.
that's nice to hear that. So, one of the things that I've noticed through the years, because I've been a fan of yours from when you started way back, and I read something recently where you gave credit to the idea that your energy performances that you have when you're out there on the stage, that just comes really natural. There's something special about your performing out there that makes it so exciting, and it's always a great time. It's always a party, right? What is that? Tell me a little bit about that.
Yes, for sure. I mean, that's my happy place, being on stage and out there doing what I love. And, when I see the people enjoying it, just as much as I am, it just gives me more energy. And so it's like, we feed off of one another. And that is just, when I'm up on stage, that's just, I give everything that I have up there, because I just, I feel like that's my escape. And I know that for so many people, that's their escape as well, is through our music and through going out and having a good time and dancing and just forgetting the worries, forgetting the problems. We're just there to have a good time and to, all be together and just really just enjoy the moment. And that's what we do every single time.
And your voice, you've given credit to your voice, because you've said that it actually, when you're sad or you're down, it's your voice that brings you out of that, right?
Absolutely. And,
Wow.
we kind of talked about this off air, but, I'm not sure if a lot of people know this about me, but I lost my mom just a little over a year ago. And, music has always been just something that has kind of gotten me through, any hard time in my life. But this has been so different. And now I just feel so much deeper, the songs that I sing, the lyrics that I sing. And so, I think when you come to see me now, I have changed. I've changed a lot, just, internally, and externally as well. But internally, because I just feel things so much deeper, and I understand the lyric so much deeper now. So I interpret different now too. So I just hope that everyone will come out and enjoy, what the changes that that have come about. And while we do miss those that we love and that we've lost, I feel like with my mom, she lives on with me, and anything that I do, I try to make her proud, and I try to, glorify her, and just, carry on her legacy, through my music and through what she helped me to accomplish and to achieve. And so, I carry her everywhere that I go. She's with me. So.
Absolutely, absolutely, and I can see that. I really have noticed, because I follow you all the time in every performance, and I got to tell you something. My good friend, I have a good friend out in California. She is the legendary Dolores Huerta, and you got to see her and perform for her last week, wasn't it? Or how long
Just a
ago was
couple
that?
weeks ago, yeah, just a couple weeks ago, we were out in LA.
Yeah, what was that like? You got to sing the national anthem?
Yeah, I sang America the Beautiful. And it was for a women's conference out in Pasadena, California, the Femme Confab retreat and convention. And it was just amazing. The women that they recognized and honored, Dolores was one of those women. And she's just it was just, I was in awe. I it was so crazy to see her. She came and we were watching Sheila E was another one of the honorees. MC Light. There were so many, but we watched Sheila E at the end of the night. She put on a concert for everyone, and Dolores walked up on the side of me, and she was there dancing and watching Sheila E, and I'm looking over to the side of me, and like just freaking out, like totally freaking.
Wow.
Dolores Marta was sitting next to me, standing next to me, and we were both just sitting there, just enjoying, the performance that Sheila E was putting on. But at the end of the day, we're all people, we're all humans, and music moves us all. And I think we all play a part in each other's lives, and whether it be through what Dolores has done for the Hispanic women, the Hispanic community, or if it's Sheila who does that through music, but we're all just connected. And I think that it's such a beautiful thing to have these conventions and things like that. So shout out to David and Sarah Chavez for putting on such an incredible event. And I was just so honored, and so just I just felt like so blessed that night, because it was just just a big dream of mine was realized that night, standing next to Dolores, being able to conversate with her,
Yeah.
meeting Sheila E, and just it was an incredible night. So went over
And,
my head forever.
and Mario Lopez, who was in a video with you, what, 20
Yeah, some 30 years ago.
Yeah. Oh my God, I remember that.
No, we both still look the same. Just kidding.
And for those who don't know, Stefani Montiel and Mario Lopez was on the beach. They did a video on the beach. You thought I didn't know that, right?
in November, y'all. So it may have looked like we were having fun, but we were not. It was freezing.
Wow. I had reached out to David Chavez because I was going to try to make that event actually, and then something came up and I wasn't able to. But man, he puts on some great shows out there in Vegas and in California.
They are amazing. They really outdid themselves with this one. And if any of the women out there listening, or even the men, I mean, it was funny. We walked into the room and Gabriel was like, "Wow, there's a lot of women in here." But it was just so incredible. And some of the countries and even outside of the countries, top women, in not only music, but LULAC, all just very powerful women were there that weekend, and it was just so nice to be able to talk to them, and just see them on a personal level, and just really be able to hear their stories, and be inspired by their words and their struggles, because we all struggle. You may see people who you think are just the top of the top, and yes, they may be right now, but they weren't always there, and they went through the same struggles that some of us do. And we hearing those stories just kind of gives you maybe the push that you need, or gives you that extra like desire to say, okay, you know what, I can do this too. I hearing this story, it just gives me that motivation to keep going and not to give up.
Yes, definitely. I'm looking at my producer over here because my chair just fell.
Oh
Uh,
no.
yeah, let me get back to where I was supposed to be here, but my chair fell. I don't know why. But you know, we need to talk about your recent collaborations, because with Gabriel Zavala as your husband and a producer, some great stuff is coming from you guys. This powerhouse couple, and you recently had a collaboration with La Cama, that
Yes.
band, which was recently in our area in December of last year. And then you also had a collaboration with Cesar Omar from Los Musicales. So tell me a little bit about that, because we're going to play that song when we come back. Well, you know what? Let's play it right now because it's so good and so powerful. I want my listeners to really listen to this voice, how she sings this song, and beautiful duet.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Yes, this is Cuando Me Dé La Gana, Cesar Omar and Stefani Montiel. I hope y'all love it.
Yo voy a dejarte de querer cuando me dé la gana. Yo voy a arrancarte de mi piel cuando me dé la gana. Porque aquí en este maldito corazón, pues yo soy la que manda. Yo te borro, yo te saco, yo te olvido cuando me dé la gana. Y si te vas, te vas, te vas, te vas, te vas.
Wow, Stephanie, You know that it kind of gives me chills. I've not heard your voice that deep, and I don't know if that feeling in there is from what you had talked about a little bit earlier, but man, you really are putting the feeling of like that music in there. It's really a good rendition because I've heard that song before, and
Yeah,
you've done it well. You've done it well. What?
thank
Tell me a little bit about that collaboration.
you so much. Well, I have to give all the credit to Caesar because he was the one that wanted to do the song. He chose the song, and most people know that he's the lead singer, David Ligarse Los Musicales. He's been with them for quite some time now. But aside from that, he sings a lot of mariachi music, and he does music on the side as well. Does like serenatas, things like that, and he's always wanted to kind of release music that are more along the lines of like his style, which is like more of the mariachi style. So he approached me about doing this song, and he said, I haven't released a song as a solo artist yet, and he's like, I think I would just really like to release this song with you if you'd be down to do that. And he said, I heard this song and I knew that we had to release it. I knew that it had to be you. And he's like, I just felt it. And so I was like, I love this song. And if you guys don't know, it's a song that Cristina Aguilar and Christian Nodal did originally. Just they released it a few months back. And when I heard the song, it's such a powerful song. And Cristina Aguilera's vocals are amazing, as are Christian Nodal's. So when Caesar approached me, I was like, okay, this is going to be, it's going to be a tough one because there's some high vocals in there and a lot of just, a lot of passion and attitude in this song, So I used to not really do a lot of that. I was more of the kind of like songbird, lots of pretty, melodies and things like that. So I loved it though. When we started recording it, it felt right. And Gabriel called when we were in the middle of getting all of the arrangement done and things like that. And he says, you know what, Steph, he's like, I don't have an accordion in the key that Christina and Christian Nodal do the song. And he said, do you think that you guys would rather go down, a key, or would you guys rather go up a key? And I kind of like sat there and thought about it, and I'm like, well, I don't know. It's already, a pretty high song, but Caesar has an incredible voice, and he has a range like no other that I've heard in our industry. And he's such a passionate vocalist and lots of power. And like I said, his range is just all over the place. So I said, let's try going up a key, and see how it works. And Chris, it's like he came, well, so we met up at the studio, and Cesar had already kind of done his parts, and he killed them, knocked them out of the park. And it didn't even matter that it was in a higher key. He still did it justice and then some. So then I was super nervous, but I think we did a great job on it. And we've been getting some great feedback as well from all the stations and from everybody. So if you haven't heard the song and tonight's your first time, I hope you're enjoying it. And thank you, Larry, for putting this song out there and for sharing it with everyone, because we truly do appreciate it. And I just wish Caesar nothing but the best, in his solo career. He's not leaving David Ligarza. He wants to make sure that everyone knows that, but he still wants to kind of release some of his own music on the side. So I wish him the best, and he's such an incredible artist, and I know great things are coming for him.
Well, it's so powerful. When I first heard it, like I said, I think you released it in February. But it was just so powerful, and I hadn't heard you give that rendition of a song in any of the past songs that I've heard. But I knew that you were capable because I know that for a fact you started singing mariachi when you were 3 years old. We talked about that in a past interview, maybe 15 years ago. I'm not sure, but I think it was when you came to the Soaring Eagle Casino back and we did an interview, and I was like, she did a song with mariachis at the age of 3. So I know you grew up listening to your father's music. You talked about his albums, and part of that, with your uncles and all, a very musical family, was the mariachi. So did you think of those times back when you were recording this with Cesar?
It's funny because we had been going through a lot of our old VHS tapes and things like that, and finding, little gems in there from when I was younger. And we used to when I used to sing a lot with the mariachis back in New Mexico, where I'm originally from. and it's just, it's crazy because it was so long ago. I was so little, and it was just something that I constantly did as a little girl. And recording. What really brought back memories for me was actually watching the Vicente Fernandez series on Netflix, and because I learned so many of those songs as a little girl, and Volver Volver was one of the first songs that I recorded on my first album that I recorded back when when I was 9. So that really brought back those mariachi like performances, and just being with a full mariachi. And it's crazy because you have to have a very powerful voice to be heard with the mariachi. And I'm like, how did they even hear me when I was so little? Because it takes a lot of power to be heard. And but it's amazing. I mean, it's an amazing feeling to kind of come full circle again, because although I didn't continue to sing mariachi, I think that just having that in my background has helped me and shaped me as an artist today, and has kind of just guided me through every aspect of my career, and has kind of just given me the style that I have. Whether it does have some mariachi in it or not. It's just I like being able to be a versatile artist and be able to sing different styles of music, and that's kind of my beginnings. So.
Well, I know that in no disrespect to Christina Aguilera, I love her. Her rendition of that song, though, there was something missing, and I think you captured that, and you did, girl. You did. So
Thanks. Thank
that was
you.
really, really awakening for me, and just beautiful how you sang it. And I've got Val Blanco. She's part of the All Stars. She's in the room. She's saying, "Hi, Stephanie, girl.
Hi.
Hey, All Stars are ready for shot, shot, shot."
Yes, they were so awesome, and Val was one of the main ones. I mean, she's just such a sweetheart, and even my sister's not going to be traveling with us this trip. I'm sure Val knows, but and a lot of you that keep up with us on social media, my sister had a baby about a year ago, and so she's super super chicle, if you guys know what that means with my sister. Like, she does not leave my sister aside, and she doesn't want anyone but my sister. So she performs with us like when we're in the area here, like close to home. But when we have like some shows outside of Texas, it's a little bit harder for her to travel to those shows. So my daughter is going to be coming with us, and you guys will get to hear her sing, because she not only sings background vocals, but she'll also be doing some of her own songs as well during the show.
Wow, wow, your daughter, who's Superwoman, she saved you on the stage at the Tejano Music Awards in Raleigh.
Yes,
I
she
saw
did.
that.
She did. And that's the thing. My daughter is that one. Like, she is always about taking care of her mama. She's my backbone. That girl is just amazing, and I love her with all my heart. She's my everything. And of course, my son as well. He's just not on the road with us. My son does his own thing, and he has an amazing voice as well. I wish one of these days I could get him on stage with us too, and so the world could hear how incredible he sings too. But it's my daughter is the one that she's got mama's back all the time, and as you guys probably saw in that video.
Wow, such talent in all these families. We've been doing this series, we talked with Bobby Polido last week and Eddie Gonzalez the week before, and everybody's got family members that are singers or involved in the music industry, and that continues with you. I mean, obviously, to have a parent, like Stefani Montiel, and then another one like Gabriel Zavala, I mean, my God, how can you lose, right? So
It's fun. It's a lot of fun. I mean, they were brought up around music, and I guess for all of us, it's like we were all, even our own parents. I think that kind of like they say, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree, and that is so that is so true. Being on the road and having my kids grew up on the road, so when I was kind of in the early stages of my career, and Gabriel as well, we had our kids really young, and luckily my parents were always with us, and they traveled with us, and my mom would take care of my babies on the bus. And actually, we traveled up to Saginaw. We performed, or actually we performed at Michigan State. We performed at Michigan State University, and I believe I think I was pregnant with my son at that time. And
wow.
I don't think anyone really knew. I hadn't really like told anyone yet. But we did have my daughter at the time, and so she traveled all the way up there with us. And it's funny because here we go again. I don't know how many years later, but now she's getting to go up there again, and this time she gets to sing for y'all.
Well, the longevity of your career, you're celebrating 30 years this year and you're going on tour and I've been doing Mi Gente magazine for about 28 years, but I do remember interviewing you even for that Michigan State performance because that's where I went to school. That's my alma mater. And man, we've really come full circle, haven't we?
We have, and I have to say, like, I've had just a special place, for Michigan in my heart. We've made some incredible friends from up there that that we met at that time, and we still, are friends to this day. And it's just, um, I don't know. There's just something very special about Michigan and our ties there and the people that we've met, and we're very appreciative for that.
Well, you just feel sorry for us because we have to deal with the cold every winter, right?
We all come and stay at my house. Come during the winter.
Yeah. All right, we're going to go into commercial real quick and back into the live stream on Facebook. So we'll be right back with Stefani Montiel. So welcome back to the live stream, everybody. We've got an incredible guest tonight. She's a barrel of fun out here from Texas, Stefani Montiel. And it's wonderful to just see her doing so well and that she is excited to come to Saginaw to see the All-Stars again. And we've got a number of the All-Stars in the room tonight. And I just want to encourage everybody, if you got a question or a comment you want to ask Stefani, she's here. She's going to be reading. And Nicolina Bruciaga, she says, "Hello, Stefani. Love you, girl. I'm hoping to make it out to see you when you come back to Michigan." And she's another singer from Michigan. Nicolina and the Bad Boys. Yeah, so long.
Her brothers are all amazing too. Like, talk about a musical family, and it's like you guys have those out there as well. And Nicolina has always been so wonderful, and as has all her family. And maybe we'll get to do another song together this time, girl.
Yeah, she says, "I sang with her at Michigan State University." Wow.
Wow. Oh my gosh. That's so cool.
What year do you think that was, Stefani? It was at least 15 years ago, wasn't it?
So
your daughter,
she was probably, let me see, I'm thinking maybe like 98, something like that.
Was it really that far?
Was it?
I'm looking at my producer because I don't even think he was born.
I was born in 98, so it was 25 years ago.
Oh my God.
Jeez. Yeah. Okay. So maybe it wasn't 98. Maybe because my daughter she's gonna be 26. So I know she was born at that time. So.
Wow. The years are just really going, huh?
All
right. Well, so everybody, come on in to the room. We're enjoying the company of Stefani Montiel. She's got some great insight, and she's going to be performing at the Cinco de Mayo celebration, the 44th annual here in Saginaw at the festival. And we're hoping that we can get her to be a part of the parade as well, coming down Washington Street, waving to the fans. But, it might be a little too early. I'm not going to put that on her.
My sunglasses.
Yeah. All right, so we're going to go back into Mi Gente on Air, and we're going to wrap it up for the next 24 minutes, just talking, just having conversation with the great, incomparable Stefani Montiel.
Cool.
This is Mi Gente on Air on WSGW.
Welcome back. I want to hear this song again because it's so powerful, and it just really shows the vocal capabilities of this woman who has been in the industry for 30 years. She's celebrating. Listen to this voice.
Cuando me dé la gana, yo voy a arrancarte de mi piel. Cuando me dé la gana, porque aquí en este
Wow, beautiful, beautiful stuff. And I wanted to play it again because, although we target this show to Latinos, it is played on radio, and so we have a lot of non-Latinos that are listening to Mi Gente on air. And so I want them to know what powerful voices that we have in our Latino community because, as you know, there's so much attention right now with Mexican music, Mexican regional sound, the Tejano sound, your collaborations. There's so much right now about Bad Bunny, and he did the song with Grupo Frontera that it hit. It's the number one song in the world. The world. Can you believe that? Can you tell me a little bit here about your perspective? We talked a little bit about that earlier, but what's going on in the world that all of a sudden we've got a Mexican regional song by a Tejano group from the Valley at the top of the charts?
I mean, isn't it amazing? That's all I have to say about it. It's just amazing, and it was time. And it was about time that all eyes were on Texas again. We have some incredibly talented artists, producers, musicians, songwriters, and the '90s were the top of the top for Tejano at that time. And we're talking about coming full circle, and I think that this is part of that. Just in our music and in our culture, but Latinos are, you're seeing Latino culture everywhere. Just, in mainstream, you're seeing it all over the place. And it's always been cool to be Latino or Latina. But I think even more so now, and people are just gravitating to everything that is beautiful about our culture and our people. And it was time. It's time for all of us to bring that out again and to be proud of it and to embrace it and to show the world how incredible our culture is.
Yes, yes, and I think Eva Longoria is doing a great job on that CNN series with all that food. That's just incredible, and I think that in itself just is such a huge attraction to anybody watching CNN on that program because the food is the star, it's just really good. And Peso Pluma, he has, on the top 100, he's got a top 10 song, which is a Mexican regional song on the Hot 100 of Billboard. I mean, when does that ever happen? I mean, something definitely is changing across the world, and it's all for the good.
Absolutely. There's a different energy, and just something is going on under the scenes, and we've been hearing about it in the music industry for quite some time. For probably about 2 years now, we've been working with a company out of Nashville, and they were telling us, Nashville's very interested in Tejano music. They want to know what's going on in Tejano. And then just this year for Fanfare, another friend of ours that works out in Nashville was talking about his label that was sending him to come to Fanfare because they wanted to hear and see what was going on in Tejano music because they're hearing such a buzz. So I think that great things and even greater things I should say are coming. We just have to be patient, and we really have to take advantage of this and be ready for it because I think back in the '90s, I don't know if we were ready for it. There were huge labels that came in and lots of money, and as far as that happening, they came in and the labels made their money and then they were gone. So
Yeah.
this time we need to be ready, and we need to be business savvy. I think as far as all of the artists, we need to have our best foot forward. To really know what we're doing when it comes to the business part of our music, and I think that we can all make something incredible once again for our industry and for our people.
Yeah, nicely said. And as I mentioned, I was talking with Bobby Polido and Eddie Gonzalez, and they talked about the hits that are internal hits, interno hits, for them, that one or two or three songs, if you're lucky, that really stands out. And I think you got a couple of those, and it's just beautiful because when you talk about in those '90s in the heyday of Tejano, when you guys were all coming up, and maybe you weren't as business savvy as like you said, but man, there were some beautiful songs that came out of that time, and we're still dancing to them. And sometimes people knock it and say, "Well, you're still listening to the music from the '90s." Well, so what? I mean, that's some good stuff really good stuff, and they're classics now. They're just classics. So it's
Absolutely.
what is your take on all that?
I mean, that's for me, that that was my introduction to Tejano. It was at that time. And I think Eddie and I started around the same time. Bobby was a little bit after that, and it was just it was everything was just rolling so fast at that time, and so you kind of just we were my father and I were actually looking at one of our calendars. My mom used to save all of our calendars for every year that we performed, and just so that we knew where we played and what we did. And so we found 1996, and that was one of our biggest years, and it was like, wow, like we were playing Thursday through Sunday. It was almost like we didn't have time to stop and think about what was going on. It was just like go go go. Like our label had us out there. We were doing promotion. We were doing videos. We were doing, it was like I felt like I didn't have time to stop and really take it all in. It was just like you had to just go. You had to be out there promoting and performing. And if it wasn't, we used to have these huge autograph sessions, down in the valley or in Corpus, and all the artists were there. And I miss all of that. There was just, it was such a different time. But I think hopefully we can bring that back again, and just bring back some of that nostalgia, like you were talking about with the music. I'm sure like Desvelado was one of the ones that Bobby talked about, and Eddie, gosh, he has Porque.
Okay, yeah.
And for me, it was probably Celos. Celos was the one that, from everyone, they
Don't get me started, girl. Don't get me started with that song.
he still asks for it. I have to do it every show. And it's funny because people are like, what's the one song that you don't like to do anymore? And I'm like, Celos. And not because I don't like the song, but it's just because I've done it for so many years,
It's magical. It's a magical song,
It is, and it just that nostalgia brings back the time in our lives that was just so magical and so special to all of us. So I can't knock people that want to still listen to the music of the '90s, because I'm guilty as well. But also on the other hand, of course, we still need to grow our industry and open it up to the younger generation, and I guess just try to really give them their time to shine as well, because we need that in order for our industry to continue and to grow and to flourish. We need to bring in some of those younger artists and allow them to leave their mark as well, and give them time to kind of cultivate their style a lot, into Tejano and into what
Yeah.
what they're doing on Tejano.
Well, I just feel we're at the cusp of something that's coming, and it's going to be wonderful, and I'm really excited about it. And you're right. The collaborations that I'm seeing, and some of the more seasoned artists that are collaborating with the younger artists. I mean, I think that's really positive. It's really positive for our industry and for our culture, because it's bringing that attention that's needed sometimes, make that crossover into that next level of popularity within a song. And one of the things that we've talked about, that I've talked about with Eddie, and I've talked with Bobby about in this series, is I've asked each of them to give me a Selena story. And I know I'm kind of just throwing this out to you there and catching you off guard, but you know, Michigan loves Selena. We know this. The world loves Selena. And even, just this last weekend in Coachella, Becky G did a medley of hits of Selena. I mean, she's still there with us. She seems to be growing stronger and stronger. And I know I've seen a picture of you and her. You were very young. And tell me your Selena story for us.
Well, Selena and I were actually pretty good friends. We met before I was signed with Capitol, because she was a Capitol artist, and I met her prior to being signed with Capitol. I was with the label, and then I had done a couple of songs, and so when I got signed, it was like we're doing a lot of showcases together. We did a lot of performances and things like that together. So we became friends, and I still was living in New Mexico, and so she would call me and tell me like what was going on, and we would just keep in touch. So fast forward, a couple like years, and and she calls me one night, and she's like, "You're not gonna believe what happened." And I was just like, "Okay, what happened?" And she's like, "I eloped." And I'm like, "What? No, you didn't." And she's like, "Yeah, we eloped. We're married." And I was just like, well, "Your dad's gonna kill you."
Oh, we all know that.
And so it was just crazy. I couldn't believe it. It was just so random. And she was like, "Well, guess what?" She's like, "We're gonna be playing in New Mexico soon." I can't remember if it was like a week or it was like shortly after they had eloped. And so they came to New Mexico, her and Chris, and it was like one of their first, I guess, um, shows, I guess, as a husband and wife. And so we hung out, and it was weird, and it was weird because I think Mr. Quintanilla was still a little bit upset about everything. Um, but it was a crazy time. And I remember sitting in the car with Mr. Q, and we were getting ready to go to their sound check, and he was showing me the songs from the Amor Prohibido album. And
Wow.
he played Carcacha, and I freaked out when I heard it. I was just like, oh my gosh, because I just I had never heard anything quite like it. Carcacha is such a, just a left field song. Who's gonna sit there and be talking about an old car? Especially Selena. Selena's, just she had such a way about her, and her music was always very upbeat and whatever. But when I heard Carcacha, it was so different and upbeat for sure. But just I don't know, just unexpected, and I loved it. I fell in love with this song. So we were listening to the songs, and Mr. Q was like, "Come on, go call Selena. We're late for sound check," and he was really upset with her. And then so here she comes, full makeup, eyelashes, like all cute, like Selena was always dressed in tees, and he was mad at her because she was late. And she's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, Dad. I had to do my laundry, and I had to do Chris's laundry." And he's like, "See, that's why you shouldn't have gotten married."
Wow.
So funny. I mean, but that was a really special trip because I got to really spend a lot of time with her and with Chris. I took all of them to the top of the mountains there in Albuquerque, where the ski resort is, and they got to play in the snow. And they didn't believe me that it was freezing up there. They were like, "No, it's nice and warm down here in Albuquerque." I know, but it's freezing up in the mountains. Like the higher elevations are cold. There's probably still snow up there. And sure enough, there was snow. So they got to play in the snow, and they froze enough to where they didn't want to spend much time up there. They had enough. But we had a great time, and those are some of my favorite memories, of Selena. She always used to leave me um, designed like jewelry that she designed, and we used to all both stay at the Rotary in here in San Antonio. And one day we were coming in, and they were leaving, and so she asked the people at the front desk if they could give me the same room that she had. And she told me that she was going to leave something for me in the room. And I'm like, "Okay, well, where? What are you going to do?" And she's like, "Well, I already told them when you guys get here, for them to give you the room, and I'll tell you, it's going to tell you where I left a gift for you." So she had left a gift of earrings for me, and she had put them in the center of the bed of the mattresses. She put them under the mattress where no one would find them except for me. So I found the earrings that she gave me, and I still have those. And just little things like that. She was a very giving, very loving, very thoughtful person, and I have nothing but great memories of our friendship, and just what an amazing woman she was, and what she has done for our industry, and what she continues to do.
Yeah, yeah, she's still doing it, it's wonderful. Um, Vanessa Salinas Sanchez, she's in the room. She says, "Good evening, checking in from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Milwaukee loves Niña Stefani Montiel." Well,
Oh,
she
thank
says Stephanie Sullivan, but Stephanie Montiel. So
you.
we definitely have a lot of the fans out here in the Midwest, and I want
Thank
I want
you.
to I want to ask you, like, what do you have planned for this tour, because it is your 30th anniversary, the Lone Star Nights tour? How will you present yourself, say, at our festival for the Cinco de Mayo?
Well, we're doing a lot of different music. We're trying to go back to like the beginning of my career and do some of the music from the 90s, and we're kind of trying to make it a little bit of a kind of a time machine sort of, and just go through a lot of the music that we've released throughout the years. And we're trying to kind of change it up every single time so that you're not getting the same show every time you see us. We want to change that, and we want it to be a surprise for you every single time. And along with my music, of course, Gabriel's his own artist as well, and he's released music, and we have a lot of people who ask for his songs and for him to perform. So you'll get some of that as well. And then now with our daughter in the band, you'll also get to hear, some of the songs that she's performing now with us. And not only does she do Tejano, but she does some English and some R&B and some country. And, so we try to just make it a very well-rounded show with a little bit of everything, because I think that Tejano music is that. It pulls from different styles of music. And us as Tejanos and Tejano music lovers, we listen to a little bit of everything. We're very well-rounded people, and we're influenced by so many different styles of music. So we try to bring that into what we do live, and we kind of touch all bases and try to accommodate every type of musical that people may want to hear in a show.
Wonderful, wonderful. And you make sure you remind your husband, Gabriel Zavala, Luces is like one of my favorite all-time songs. And somebody at a dance recently, I don't know if you saw that, it was on my Facebook page. They dedicated it to me, and I'm like, wait a minute, Deseo Marqueja, how did he know that?
All right. So does that mean that you're going to come up and sing it with us, Larry?
Oh man, I don't know about that. And Val Blanco's over there saying, Stephanie, I bet you didn't know that Larry loves to sing. Hint, hint. Yeah, right, Val. Like, I'm going to get
call him out.
Wow. But, Tony Martinez, he says, a very awesome performer, and you get a 2-for-1 because her husband, Gabe Zavala, is just as good and a great producer. Yes, sir.
Thank you. That means a lot to us. I mean, we do this wholeheartedly because we love it. We love Tejano music. We love the fans out there, and we are so grateful and so thankful that we have the support that we've had for so many years. Especially, and I always say this, coming from outside of Texas, because it's hard enough to make it in Tejano music or in any genre, any music, and in any successful business, for being in your own backyard. But coming from outside of the state of Texas, I grew up in New Mexico, was born and raised there. But I grew up on Tejano music, and just like you guys out in Michigan, you just have a love and a passion for the music. And that's how I was in New Mexico. My father grew up listening to Tejano music as well. He played saxophone, and he would, learn all the Tejano group's music at the time. And he was asked to go on the road with Little Joe at one point. And it was just, it's such a beautiful thing to know what you love at such an early age. And I knew music was it for me. I don't know how I knew it. It just was. It was what I was, what I wanted to do, what I was pulled to do, and what I was called to do. But my father definitely, and my uncles, my mom's brothers, definitely shaped me and as far as teaching me songs. My uncles loved, they loved Steve Jordan. My grandpa Emilio loved Steve Jordan. So I listened to that stuff, and I was like, whoa, what is this? Because it was just so out there and so just different than anything that I had heard. And so I learned El Gancho and Ella, and I would learn all of those songs that my uncles would teach me. And then my dad, of course, would teach me others from like the Little Joe and Royal Jesters and David Mares and Ruben Ramos. My dad loved, that big band sound, and Sonny, of course. And then, I kind of loved Linda Ronstadt and Dolly Parton and Madonna. And, then I brought those elements into what I did at the time because I was super young. I was when I started singing. I was 5 when I recorded my first 45. And then I was 9 when I recorded my first full play album. And, it's just, I don't know. It's just, when you're called to do something, you know it and you feel it. And no matter what way you try to sway, it's like that's kind of always your calling. But, to be able to come and move to Texas and really just be successful. I feel like, we've done a lot in the time that we've been here, and, 6 Grammy 6 Grammy nominations, 3 Latin Grammys, and 3 American Grammy nominations. Numerous Tejano Music Award nominations and wins, and and not that any of that really matters, because when you love music, none of that stuff really matters. It's the music, and it's the being out there for your fans, and being able to share your passion with people who are just as passionate about what you're singing about. That's really what means the most to me. But it's always really nice to be acknowledged, and to be accepted, and I feel like I've done that. I've been here in Texas now 30 years, and being able to sustain in an industry where, I wasn't part of as a young girl, as a little girl. I was in New Mexico, but although I loved the music, it's funny because I came to Texas, as soon as I graduated, I was like, I want to go, I want to go. I want to be a part of this, and I need to start now, as soon as I can. And so that was just the start of it. And I've been here ever since, and I love it, and I don't have any regrets, and I'm just extremely, extremely grateful for the time that I've had here, and for the support that I've had throughout the years, and the support that I continue to have. It's I don't take it lightly, and I don't take it for granted. It means everything to me.
Well, you definitely have had a blessed life, and I don't know if anybody has ever, just really sincerely thanked you, but I want to just thank you because you have done an amazing job for the soundtrack of our lives all these years, 30 years. I mean that's
It's crazy.
yeah, and
I
and
sit in,
you
I joke because I say I'm only 27, so I don't know how I've been in the industry for 30 years, so I'm still trying to figure that out.
Yeah, yeah. But what's so neat is that, because of your collaboration with your husband, you're innovative. You've got these great ideas, and you bring it forth, and it's not stale by any means, and you're continually evolving 30 years into a career. I mean, so thank you for all that. You've never disrespected Tejano. You've always showed us in a really good way, and I'm proud of you. I'm proud to call you my friend, but I'm more proud to know that I have listened to your career for so many years, and it's just been an amazing experience. And so we're gonna see Stefani Montiel. We're gonna go out listening to a great party song, because that's what's going to happen here in Saginaw, Michigan, for the 44th annual Cinco de Mayo celebration, the parade and festival, with Eddie Gonzalez and Stefani Montiel. They're going to headline here, 2 Tejano major acts in the Saginaw area, and we're so excited to have the likes of them celebrating, both of them, their 30-year career in the music industry. So thank you so much, Stefani Montiel, for being with us tonight. It's always a pleasure. And thank you to your husband for all that he does. And we'll see you in less than 2 weeks at the Cinco de Mayo Festival. Thank you so much, Stephanie. Everybody, it's been a great show, great evening. And hasta luego until next week, when we have Gary Hobbs as our final big Tejano star in the Tejano Superstar Series. Good night.
Good night, y'all. Thank you. Y'all better get ready.
All right, everybody. So thank you so much again. We had a wonderful conversation with Stefani Montiel. She's still with us. And Carrie Castañeda, she says, Stephanie and Gabriel, you are amazing at what you do, and they are amazing role models. So nice compliment. Yeah. And, we had a lot of people in the room tonight, and we're so happy that you're going to be with us, like we said. And I know that Val Blanco, Angela Blanco, they're part of the Civica All-Stars. And we're just so excited to welcome you and to, make you feel at home again, because that's what we do with the Civica All-Stars for those friends like Stefani Montiel. So everybody, I want to encourage you to come on out and hear this amazing performer. She's going to be at the festival performing in the daytime, and then at the Vault, she's going to be performing with Eddie Gonzalez and Grupo Deseo at the Vault concert in the evening in Saginaw. So you got 2 performances in Saginaw. Isn't that wonderful? And then in Holland, the night before, on May 5th, she's going to be in Holland, Michigan, at the Elks Lodge. And I know I've got a lot of Saginaw people that are working over there in Holland. And so May 5th and May 6th, Cinco de Mayo weekend, Stefani Montiel and Eddie Gonzalez are going to be celebrating with us for the Cinco de Mayo. Any last words, Stephanie?
I'm just so thankful, Larry. Thankful for your friendship for so many years. Thank you to Mi Gente, for having us on in the magazine, for having us on air tonight, and to everyone who listens to not only my music but all Tejano music. We are so appreciative. I'm appreciative because our music lives on through you. That's the only way that we can do what we do and continue doing what we love. It's through the support of the people out there who listen to our music and who support it. And Vanessa, yes, we're going to be out in Milwaukee as well for the Milwaukee Festival, for the Mexican Fiesta. It's so amazing to see the support that we have, of course, in Texas, but outside of Texas as well. And we appreciate you all from the bottom of our hearts. I can't wait to see you guys in 2 weeks. It's going to be amazing. Don't forget it. Come out and party with us. We're going to have a great time. Thank you, Larry.
All right. Thank you so much. I can't say any more after that. Thank you so much, Stefani Montiel.
Appreciate you.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.